Be your genuine self, and people will pick up on it. And it's going to be something that you're.
And the biggest thing, look them in the eye and smile.
Look them in the eye.
And
be
smile.
Approachable.
Smile.
Wear something that you're confident in. Know that you are whole, just yourself. It's time for you to create your fate. We are back on the Create Your Fate podcast. Welcome. My two besties are back, Bruce and Rodney. If you missed the episode before, you got to check it out. But they're back.
Yay.
Thank you.
So happy to be here.
We're happy to be here, Meg.
You are stuck in Houston for a month.
I wouldn't say stuck.
We're enjoying this.
I like Houston.
And our friends.
Exactly. See, I like that. A perspective change.
Yes.
Well, you were physically stuck, but emotionally, it feels very nice.
Right.
So if you missed the last episode with them, run back a couple episodes. But you guys give us like a couple minutes synopsis of Chasing Rainbows just to catch people up.
Sure. So Rod and I, a year and a half ago went on the road full time with our RV, Uncle Joe, or Josephine, as we like to call her.
Post makeover.
Yes, post makeover. And we are traveling around the 50 states in 2 years was our goal. And we're on target with about 43 done.
Yep. That's right.
And our whole purpose is to share with people, teach people tips and tricks about RV living, and specifically within our gay community, kind of that you can live through it, that the villagers will not
are not coming to burn down your RV.
Right.
They will accept you. Yes. And yeah, all the life lessons that go on for that. So you guys have your own YouTube channel launching.
That's correct.
Very soon. So
Rainbow Chasers.
Yes, coming soon.
Soon.
I'll tag it, so make sure you follow that. But it's serendipitous. We'll use the word of, you got stranded here due to a, if you want the details, go look at the other episode. But we'll just say, yeah, right. Too soon. It's too soon. But you guys are stuck here for, but in a good way, for a month or so, a little over a month. And so we had this opportunity. We've had, just to give it some backstory, Bruce and Rodney are some of my best friends for, oh my God, coming up on a decade almost. And we've just shared so many memories together. And we were at dinner the other day because y'all got stuck here. And we got onto the topic of dating. And, Lacey and I had done a couple podcasts on dating, and they were actually very well received. And people kept coming up and saying, "Oh my gosh, here's this question. They love the dating thing." So I was like, okay, this is a big part of life. So maybe we'll start to incorporate this more into the show.
That's great.
And it just so happened that you guys had some dating advice that we were all talking about the other day, and and we wanted to share it with everybody.
Okay.
And see what your expertise has to say. And before, to give a little backstory. Before you were RV life YouTube extraordinaires, you've had plenty of experience with women.
Mm-hmm.
And Rodney, we'll let you go first.
Well, I was a hairstylist for many, many years. I owned a salon, so I had a lot of female clients that confided in me a lot of different things, and heard some varying, everything from, I can't even say. I have heard so many stories about dating and the woes of dating and how dating has gone wrong, and some about how dating have gone well. And I think that I can have a perspective a little bit on that.
Yeah. It's when you go to the hairstylist, that's like the therapist.
Yeah, it's the salon psychology.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm the same way.
Well, they say, in cosmetics and hair, because my background's in cosmetics, that normal people only have 5 to 10 people that ever touch the skin of their face.
Oh.
So when you touch the skin of the face, you become connected to people in a very intimate moment. So hairstylists, you'll share things with your hairstylist that you won't share with others. Cosmetics, when you're doing cosmetics on somebody, they will definitely share some information. And then I had the luxury in my position previous to coach executives, professional executives in the cosmetic industry that somewhat because of their power, their confidence, had a real hard time kind of balancing life and profession.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, dating was one of the biggest things that they suffered. And, I found that I spoke because the company I worked for really, it was all about the store visits during the day, but at night it was always dinner, So I would go to dinner with executives across the country. And, the first thing you chat about is, how's your family? How's everything? And I would get updates on kind of their single lifestyle for years. And I'm like, what is it that is stopping you from finding a mate?
Yeah.
And
So
I've kind of found that out.
Yes. We are here. Ladies, listen up. We have an outside opinion coming in from years of experience. We're not jaded. They're truly outside experiences, not competing with you. Well, maybe a little, but
not too much.
But the point is, they're pure of heart when it comes to this advice.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
And it's probably a take that most women wouldn't think of.
yeah. So, I guess I got the first question, and this might be a long podcast, but this might be a 2-part series.
Yes, exactly.
What are the common woes been over the years that you have seen?
I think it is the number one is I go out all the time, Bruce. I go to different places, but men do not approach me.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's
Okay.
what I think it is too.
So
The thing I hear is that
unapproachable.
Right. And I ask more questions like, so tell me, what do you do there? When you're there, when a gentleman looks you in the eye, what do you do?
Mm.
Most women will say that they bow their eyes.
Like
they
look down.
actually look down
Or look away.
because they're shy, or that they don't believe that they have the confidence to say, I am damn gorgeous, or whatever it is.
I'm confident.
And I'm confident. So they'll kind of, and just out of respect or whatever, some it's respect issues, it might be, but they will, and a man takes that cue as you are unavailable. So within a second to 3 seconds, you have just turned down any approach from that gentleman.
it's a demure approach. I think they're kind of like saying, "Oh, he's talking to me," and they'll look down and away, and that signals to the man that
like shutting it down.
You're unavailable.
Whoa.
You're married, you're, unavailable, whatever it might be. But a man takes it totally different than a woman takes it, especially in this day and age.
Interesting.
And I would say the same thing that what I heard in the salon was like, why won't men talk to me in when I'm out?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times it's, who are you with, right? Mm-hmm. Are you with a group? Because I think when girls travel in groups,
John's nodding his head. He's like, "Yep." John,
So,
aren't you married?
With
a baby?
I really think that when girls travel in groups,
right. For his friends,
it's really intimidating to men to approach somebody that they may be interested in when they have a circle of friends around them. And
so that's even more intimidating.
Right. And if girls are out with gay men, it's even worse.
Okay, this explains a lot because all my friends are gay.
Yeah.
So we did an experiment.
I see straight men once a week for 2 hours at my networking group.
We did an experiment with one of our friends and said, we're going to take you out, because she was telling us she never gets approached in bars. She never, no one will talk to her.
Uh-huh.
So we're like, okay, we're going to take you out, but what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to put you at the end of the bar, and we're going to go to the other end of the bar. And you're just going to sit there and let some men come up and talk
Approach
to you.
you.
Right. So, and then you're going to engage with them and see what happens, how many men come up and talk to you. We're not going to hang out with you and talk with you. We're going to sit at the other end of the bar. We're going to watch you and make sure nothing's happening.
Be safe.
And be safe.
That's
right.
one of the things that my, executives would share with me. I can't go out by myself, Bruce, because that is, I feel danger. I feel intimidated.
Like when you're traveling, or just even at home?
Just even at home. A lot of the time, that is when a man feels the most comfortable to approach you, because there's not an audience. He's not approaching 3 people. He's approaching one person. So share your
I understand
share the
that.
results. You
Well, what happened, she was sitting at the end of the bar, and I would say within a matter of 2 minutes, 3 minutes, she had one person approach her, had a conversation. Then I would say maybe 10 minutes later, there was another person that came and approached her. I would say through the evening, there were probably 5 guys that came and approached her as she was sitting there by herself.
Wow.
And the 5th one was a winner.
And the 5th one was the winner, right?
Hey, there you go.
Socks, we love you.
Oh yes, I do remember this story actually.
So it was just an experiment we wanted to have and say, when you're traveling in a group, it's really hard. And as gay men, I'll tell you, gay men don't travel in groups. When they're looking to meet people, they are not in a group. So I think
it's a technique that could be transferred to the straight girl world.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's a safety issue. So what I always share with them is go to a bar that you feel comfortable or wherever. It doesn't have to be a bar, but whatever the social scene is that you feel comfortable in, that you know somebody in, or get to know the bartender, as my background was a bartender. Get to know the bartender. The bartender will protect you.
Right.
They will tell, somebody to buzz off.
Right.
So
or have a wingman, right?
There's a drink you can order. I cannot remember what the name of it is.
That signals.
You can order it from the bartender. I'll have to look this up.
And it says,
and it's, if you ordered this drink, that means this guy is bothering me and he won't leave me alone.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Just Google that real quick.
Yeah, Google that, because I haven't heard that. That's a pretty good idea.
Google, right.
Because I always have your safety phone number here, right? If there's somebody bothering you, that's like you've got. I think there's an app you can get called Callback or something like that. That will you just hit the button and it'll call you. And I gotta go. Yeah.
Well, and you can, with your phone these days, you can share your location. You know?
Absolutely. And with your phones today, you could act like there's a message or someone's calling you that's important.
Oh, it's called an angel shot.
Oh, an angel shot.
Yeah. So there you go. I saw it on TikTok.
Just make sure your bartender knows.
Yeah, that's right. True.
So now,
bartender, you watch TikTok?
So we definitely want to emphasize safety here, right? We don't want girls just going out.
No, you don't want to go out drinking by if you're going to a bar.
Right.
Don't get irresponsibly drunk by yourself, and then do not go home with anybody, and then do not let that person go home with you or even Uber you home. Do not let people know where you live.
Right. Absolutely.
Mama Bear just came out there. I'm like, do not let anybody park in your apartment.
And that's why coffee houses too are also a great suggestion.
Okay.
And really, one of the things that we often say, Rod, is that if you don't have a spark, you're not going to have a fire. So if there is no spark within the first 5 minutes of meeting someone, I think that's where lunch dating has had such success, because it's the multitude. You have to go through, even, our beautiful friend in the example that Rod shared. It was the 5th guy that came up to her, but she had said, that is more guys that have ever approached me than ever in my life in one sitting.
I mean, approachable,
Well, and that's the whole, I think that's the whole thing. She was not giving off this fear. She felt safe. She didn't feel like she had to put on airs. She knew that she was there to.
And she was there with a purpose.
Right.
To meet guys. So, I mean, even though we were there as her protector, she kind of had an openness and such. And when she's with girlfriends, sometimes it just, the whole look of it is that you're walking into the fire for a guy.
Well, yeah, the guys guys can get very
not only
intimidated.
do I have to impress one, but I have to impress
friends.
all the friends.
Yeah.
So,
but I think also by having us at the other end of the bar gave her the freedom and the confidence to be herself, right? And not have to be something she thinks that the guy wants her to be.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is actually it was Lacey. I think she may have shared this on a podcast before, but she ended up dating a guy for a little while, but they met in an airport at an airport bar. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. I've never picked up anybody at an airport bar before. And she was like, well, this is like what you do. It goes back to the approachability of she wasn't sitting there with the international sign of leave me alone, your AirPods, right? And she wasn't handling like, playing around on her phone. It was just sitting there.
Being present.
Like if somebody were to say hello, then you would hear them,
Right.
So,
it's really a great lesson to learn, especially in the tech world.
Yeah.
On subways, in New York, Fran shared this on a podcast. She goes, most people are all in their books or in their phone or listening to. I look at the theater of the living. I look at the people around me and being present. And really, if you're at that mindset, you have to go through a lot of duds to get to the star, to the one that you want.
A lot of frogs to get your prince.
Yeah. And if you're only getting 10 approaches in a year, odds are you're not going to find
So you got to put yourself out there. You got to be approachable, but then also put yourself out there.
Right.
And that can be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people, I think that deters a lot of women.
Absolutely. And it deters a lot of men. Let me tell you, the worst thing that they can feel is not confident or shot down. So when you do see a gentleman looking at you, look them back in the eye and smile. And I will tell you, I've had executives that have taken my advice on this one that we love. I won't say her name. She's a beautiful Italian executive for a cosmetic company, and she married a millionaire, the man of her dreams. And she's like, all I did, Bruce, within a week after talking, was look back at him and smile. And I would have never done that ever. I would have been too shy and I wouldn't have smiled.
Down and
Right. And he would have taken that immediately within those first couple seconds as unavoidable.
Yeah, but we have to also say, and it's really important to say that you have to have that spark as well, right? Just every guy that looks at you, you don't want to.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right. You have to have some kind of attraction there too,
staring at people.
I think sometimes what happens is girls kind of like make a story up in their mind about, well, he's not exactly what I want, but I can see that he's got this quality and this quality. And they're like kind of rationalizing in their mind, he's not what I really want, but I think I can date him. Well, in my opinion, that's never going to work. Because if you're saying to yourself, he's not what I want, then
if he's not what you want now, he ain't gonna be that later.
Right. No, right. Exactly.
And sometimes men will surprise you, man. They'll be something completely different than what you think they are on the outside. So some men that you see on the outside that look maybe a certain way or whatever are completely opposite of that. And you just kind of have to be more open, I think, to things and not just say, well, I only want men that are 6'2" and then have blonde hair and then are blah, blah, blah. And that's a type and that's what you're attracted to. But there are other people out there in the world, right?
Yeah, focus on being attracted to the person versus what you are like
checking off a list.
Right. Yeah. I have a friend who just had so many missed opportunities because the guy wasn't blonde or the guy wasn't tall enough or the guy wasn't, the right age, right? And it was like so many men were interested in dating you that you just shut them down right away. And I told her, I said, you just got to kind of be more open. And when she started opening up more, it was amazing how much more her dating life became more robust, right? She just started going out on more dates. She had more fun. She ended up meeting somebody that I would have never thought she would have been with. And I thought that was great for her, right? And it worked out for her that it was a different experience for her. And she really ended up having a very happy time with that gentleman.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
But if you're looking for tall, figure out where tall is. I mean, it's another thing. I mean, we used to have this in Manhattan. Everybody is short in Manhattan. I'm like, well, they kind of are. They are.
You know what? That's so funny because somebody actually said that. Like, I swear to God, I've been in Manhattan 20 bazillion times, but I've never noticed that. And somebody else just said that like a week ago.
Yeah, they're not the tall, but in Queens, where the Russian population lives and the Nordic populations live,
but not the
they're
little
very tall.
Italian.
Yes.
Italian men.
So it's like, if you really are gunning for that,
you
kind of
6'4",
find out where the
find
6'4"
out where their corn fed. Yeah.
That's right.
The Midwest.
Do your research, ladies.
The Midwest.
Yeah.
The Midwest is good for that.
to-
Chicago is a good city for that.
There you go.
Actually.
Yeah, I was going to say we're moving to like Idaho.
Well, and it really
I don't
is
know.
almost today is a job to find a mate.
It
in
is.
a lot
It
of
really
ways,
is a full-time
because there
job.
isn't the socialization that occurs.
Yeah.
5 years ago, 10 years ago.
And the
that
apps
was
have changed
natural.
everything too.
That's
Yeah.
true. It's the apps. It's just very like not personal. And then you talk to 20 people at the same time, you get bored, and it's just
The man is on an app for a one-night stand.
I
A
mean,
woman.
But I will say I've had not my own personal experience, but I have had friends who have at least dated the person for
A good amount of time.
a couple
Yeah.
months at least.
Yeah.
So
Well, maybe I'm making that
Yeah,
as
I think you're a little
30 years.
judgmental,
I am
Bruce.
I think,
judgmental.
20 years ago, I would have said that, right?
but I will say this: I think you're still onto something because certain apps are like that.
Right.
Like
Right.
Tinder, everybody knows that's just a hookup app,
Right.
and then there's like Hinge and Bumble, I think, which are a little better. But I think they're actually kind of getting like a little hookup-y,
Yeah.
I really think
So-
the best place to meet them is through introductions through your friends
Mm-hmm.
or organizations.
People that share. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. But hell, who knows? We met in a bar.
Yeah.
That's true.
Exactly.
Right?
And I was like, okay.
Don't meet people in bars.
But actually, it was Mike Palopoulos.
It
that
was,
shared
yeah.
it. Yeah. He did.
Oh, yeah,
see
He's
so
it.
gonna
mutual friend.
love that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Mike.
Mike, I hope you're listening to this podcast. Sponsor us, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Yeah, we'll put a link to your art.
We
Right,
will.
yeah, there you go.
Definitely.
For sure.
But yeah.
But I think that's a good point of, you gotta put yourself out there at least. And sometimes that does look like it's on an app though. Like I know there's so many people, and this was me included, so I'm asking for myself. I'm not even asking for a friend, and I'm gonna go get some champagne for this question. But that's really scary to do, and it's so out of your comfort zone. Like I don't know how to how do you put yourself out there? Like you go to a bar or a coffee shop, sit by yourself, be approachable, don't have your headphones in, right? Put yourself in a position to where somebody can actually find you. But I don't know.
I think that it's not
it's
out of the,
intimidating.
and I don't
It
think it's
is.
out of the realm of possibility for you to initiate conversations with
Mhm.
people.
No.
Right. So many women, I think, wait for the guy to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, though, that a lot of it demasculinizes, if that is a word,
Yes.
the man.
Oh yeah.
So
Give me
they're
your
not,
champagne
yeah.
glass. I will fill you
Yeah,
up for
okay,
this
maybe I
one.
need a drink on that one.
Feminist Meg is about to come out.
Yes.
Because I saw this very questionable TikTok. It was not even meant to be a hot take, but this guy, he had a point. I'll say this because he said if you want to attract a masculine man, which was the point of this whole TikTok, right? And I was like, that's offensive. Like, F you, you shouldn't be making TikToks like this. And then I was like, oh, actually, and he goes into all these qualities about masculine women. And I'm like, okay, now if I think back, most of the guys that I have dated are very feminine,
Well,
yes.
But it was like, but get this.
There's only one alphabet.
I know. So, he was saying, if you are wanting to get a masculine man, do not come at him with accomplishments. You come at him with nurturing and softness.
Well,
and that offended me.
yes.
But then he also
not
had a
softness.
point,
Yeah.
and that made me even more mad.
True.
Thank you, dear.
Let me fill you up.
Usually when you hate or you're irritated by something, there's a truth in it.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And not to like,
This is where I'm not healed, universe. My masculinity.
and not to demystify, the feminine, mystique or whatever, but I think it's a different day Even with the apps and everything, I just think it's just another time where women can be a little bit more aggressive, I think.
Absolutely.
But is that masculine? Like so if this guy on TikTok is telling you, and he's like a very well-known guy, if he's telling you, no, like come, like if you want a masculine guy, be nurturing and soft and all these things. And I'm like,
I think every guy wants to talk about themselves. So the easiest way is questions.
Right.
Prepare your questions.
It's like, don't talk about yourself, talk about him.
Right.
Get him to talk.
And not just not just yes, no questions.
Open-ended, very nuanced.
Open-ended, nuanced, look on an app, get 5 questions in your pocket because you want to prepare because you'll forget in the moment and you'll start going back on those old tried and true that maybe weren't tried and true. So it's
how are those working out for you?
Yeah.
Not very well.
I really think getting them to talk to you is one thing.
Hi, I'm so glad you met me.
Right, yeah, exactly. Great to meet me, I know. I mean, that's not what I'm going. That's not what I do. But I'm like, I'm not over here like, oh my gosh, can I fish you a warm cup of tea? I'm like, make your own damn tea.
No.
Yeah.
But I'm also single, so.
But you don't want to be someone you're not either.
That's the thing. That's where it's like, where's that fine? I feel like that message above everything else that I felt, there was a roller coaster of emotions, but I felt it was telling people to not be true to themselves.
It sounded it, yes. But if you really restructure it as make it all, I want to know about him. I know about me. So this is not me that I'm interviewing. It's him.
But then what if they just talk about themselves the whole time?
Well, then that's a clue.
I went to women.
That is a clue.
They're
not asking any questions about you.
Right. There should be a repartee.
Okay, so it's a test. It's a test.
I hate to say it, but it kind of is.
It's
an interview process.
If they don't, naturally, if I ask you what your favorite place to vacation is and why, wouldn't it be natural for you to say, well, hey, Bruce, what's your, after you finish telling me?
And your favorite vacation?
Right. And if they don't, that's a clue.
Yeah. But also a clue, a hint to some women out there, or, whoever is listening to this podcast, make sure that you are not doing that. You're not the one who's like, let me just talk all about me.
Right.
Right.
Ask questions too. One of the best pieces of networking advice I ever got was be interested, not interesting.
Absolutely.
So networking tools for dating.
Yeah. It's getting the other people to talk about themselves. That's what people want to do. They don't care about what your accomplishments are and what you're doing. They want to talk about themselves.
But then here's the thing. It's like, I know I'm going to be like devil's advocate over here because I'm like, if I meet you out at a bar, restaurant, coffee shop, wherever, and all I do, and I'm interested, not interesting, and all you do is talk about you walk away from that conversation. This is literally like networking 101, where it's like, wow, I just had a really great conversation with this person because I got to talk about myself the whole time, right? You walk away because I've asked you all these questions about you, and you walk away being like, man, something about that conversation was just so good. I really like this person, me. But you don't. You just like the fact that you talked about yourself the whole time.
Well,
and then it's like...
Yeah. Date 2.
I think that I think that in that situation, I would have walked away from that saying, wow, that person was really interested in me.
Right.
Right. But
and I think you got to pick up on the sign. If they didn't ask you any questions to kind of balance the scale, there's definitely something there.
There's a whole body language thing,
and
too.
in networking, you might not have that situation, but in dating, you should. I mean, in networking, they might be like, oh, I'm not going to ask you because I really don't care.
Yeah, right. On to the next one. I paid for this event. Bye.
Exactly. So, and, you're not wearing the right shoes or whatever. Oh, and there's the fashion piece.
Okay, yes, the shoes.
Yeah.
So listen, I also want to say that I wear black athleisure all the time. I have a merchandise. It's by the time this episode comes out, it will be launched. I did not design it myself. I had 3 fashion interns telling me about my fashion line because I wear black athleisure all the time. And
it's very slimming.
Sitting down, Bruce is like, are you coming from the gym? Said, no, this is just comfortable in what I wear.
Well,
so
you know,
I would never wear this on a first date.
I know that, Megan, and I was not speaking of that. But
I know. I'm just.
But your first, I mean, you want, just like anything, dress for an interview. That those days are still here. I mean, I don't care.
How should you dress on a first date? I mean, it depends where you go.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I think it's appropriate for where you are.
Appropriate for where you are, for sure. Right. But don't give it all away.
No.
Like, don't look as sexy as you can.
Oh, God, no.
You know, on the first date. Because I see a lot of people who do that. Where I'm like, well, that's what you... I mean, I know I wear super casual clothes, but I'm like, you're wearing that? Like, where is the date? His bedroom? You know? And it's like, it gives it all away.
It does. And you know, what I'm taking away from this is dating is almost... It is work. It really is work.
It is.
And if you prepare your 5 questions, you got to look them in the eye, you got to smile, you got to do that. You know, there's a lot of things involved. And for whether it's a gentleman or a woman, it is really the same for both. That you need to be your best self and you need to be interested and interesting as much as you can. And then you have to dress the part. People.
Yeah. So what is, give us some fashion advice.
I would say, you know, less is more. Chanel had it right. Mm-hmm. Look in the mirror, take something off. I mean, not a blouse.
Yes. I'm like, so we're not going to take my advice on giving it all away on the first date. You mean like a
like
necklace?
Accessories, okay. You name it. Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes, again, a lot of the time we over floralize or we over, kind of portray. So less is more. Keep it simple in the beginning. And just, like you said,
like in something that makes you feel good about yourself.
Absolutely.
Right. Because if you feel good about yourself, it's going to come across in your conversation, right? It's not, you're not going to wear the most sexy thing you have unless that's what your objection is, right? Or if that's what you're looking for, then that's what you want. But if you're looking for a mate or like a long time like commitment, that's not what your first impression should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so first impressions count is what I'm hearing.
It is, yeah. And know your body type. Are you, whatever shape your body is, dressed to that shape. And I would say keep it simple. There is a reason little black dress has a name. And not the little black dress that's a negligee.
Yes, like an actual appropriate dress.
Right. Because black is
Nordstrom,
slimming.
Go to Zara.
Absolutely. And, simple is better than print.
And men of all types and kinds love women of all types and kinds too. There's not just a specific thing or body type men are looking for. Sometimes you'll be very surprised at what men find attractive in women and vice versa. Right? It's not what you would expect.
Right. Mm-hmm. Or not what Bruce finds attractive.
Or what Bruce finds attractive. Well, I just feel like confidence is your best accessory.
Yeah. Right. Well, if you're dressing to your body type, and here's the thing, like not trying to fit into something, like I don't like wearing, well, okay, here's an example. This is not even like super tight clothes or anything like that. I like wearing black. I just like it. If I wear too much color, I look like a clown. I have bright red hair. Right. I'm not even going to bring up the bright pink lipstick era that neither one of you told me about.
That's on you, mister.
It was like 2015.
She was starting a trend, people. 2 years later, it was everywhere.
It was. I swear to God.
It was. 2 years later.
That was a Tom Ford lipstick, wasn't it?
I said.
It was, I don't know about that. No, it was, I can't remember.
No.
It was not Tom Ford, but it was something like nice, right? It wasn't like NYC from like
I still
Target.
see that picture and love that lipstick.
Okay, so I had bright red hair and I was through this like fuchsia lipstick phase that I guess was talked about.
Yeah.
But never to my face. And so anyway, the point is I don't like to wear bright colors. Call it PTSD from the lipstick. But when the sundress floral situation with the ruffles came out, and it's like been here for like 3 years, I'm over it. but I know it's trendy, blah, blah, blah. I don't like to wear it.
No.
It's summer. It's 100 degrees. I'm wearing black. I'm sorry.
And then this era of camera and selfie,
Yes.
that print is everywhere in your, your feed and such. It looks like, oh my God, is she wearing the same print dress? Now, if you had a black dress or a little red dress or whatever it is,
I've got to say this. Bruce's advice is absolutely spot on, because even as a man, I would buy print shirts and wear them and think I looked great. You
did look great, but you wear it one time.
But then I look back at those pictures and I'm like, oh my God, I'm wearing pajamas.
I remember this phase because it was during the pink lipstick phase.
Yeah.
Bruce, why are you friends with us?
Absolutely.
That's why he's always walking in front
Bruce
of us.
Bruce is like, never wear prints. Never wear prints, because number one, someone else obviously is going to have the same print on wherever you go. And number two, you look back in the pictures and it's like, oh my God, I'm wearing pajamas.
And then one of our best mutual friends wears prints all the time. And she actually wore a print on the date that she found her mate. Mm-hmm. So, everything you say can be broken.
Yeah.
But, it's like...
But know what rules to break.
Right.
I broke the rule. I have bright red hair. I can break that rule. Mm-hmm. I cannot break the rule of purple lipstick. I guess it didn't hit,
We thought you were setting a trend.
I said some people are trendsetters.
I was trying.
I think you saw that lipstick recently.
That was our first date.
I lived in Tomball, Texas. I was not a trendsetter.
Right. Well, and that was our first date. If I
bold.
If I came out to you and said, I think that lipstick choice is inappropriate, we might not be here today.
This is true. Yes.
After the second or third, or maybe a year later, we told you.
Or you just reach in my purse and just toss it. And then I don't know where that lipstick went. I don't know. That's weird.
You noticed I replaced them all.
Yes, exactly. I wear nude. I don't wear eyeshadow anymore. I've got nothing. But
it's important.
Mm-hmm. So just feeling confident about yourself and knowing what works for you personally, right?
Absolutely.
Pink lipstick can work on some people. Red hair can work on some people.
And being willing to put yourself out there. I mean, so I think that's the other big thing. Just that ability to just say, I'm available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you are too needy,
desperation comes
across. And I know I'm the man that says 5 questions in your pocket. Look at this. But those are sets. But don't look desperate.
Where's the fine line between prepared and desperate?
Yes,
like, where is the line?
Well, I can tell you from my own personal experience that I was having the same issues. Like can't ever find anybody to date. I like all these guys, and it just never works out. And what's going on? I don't know what's wrong. And then I just finally one day I was just so fed up. I just said, I don't really care if I'm alone for the rest of my life. It just doesn't even bother me anymore that it's going to not happen. It's not going to happen. I don't care. And as soon as you just don't care about that anymore, that's when you meet the person that you're going to be with, because you don't have that air of desperation around you. I am looking for this thing, because people sense that.
That's actually a law of attraction right there, because you are so focused on what a lot of people think that law of attraction and manifesting is you get what you want. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are.
Right.
Very true.
It's true.
I didn't coin that, but right? You're looking at me like I'm the smartest woman ever. I'm like, I didn't make that up.
You are. Smart people repeat things.
Right,
That's
exactly.
history.
Smart people repeat things. So you attract what you are. So if you are constantly focusing on what you don't have, this lack, I'm not a full person without somebody else, then all you're doing, what your focus point is on what you don't have. And so you get more of what you don't have, or what makes you enforces the belief of, I don't have this. Mm-hmm. So when you release the outcome, right, which is that alleviating that control, I'm not saying just say fuck it, give up on it. I'm just saying, no, I know.
The outcome is, it wasn't the outcome of my evening tonight is to meet 10 guys and interview them.
Mm-hmm. Or
It's not to find my mate.
Yeah.
But I went through a phase of that's all I wanted. When every time I went out, I was like, am I going to find my mate? Am I going to find my mate?
And you never do.
And I never do, because that comes across in all of your body language, all of your conversations, everything you're saying to the person, and they just like run in the other direction, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as you have that conversation inside yourself with yourself, it's like, you know what, I don't really care if I find this person tonight, right? Or whatever. And it's really going to be about what's going to make me happy. That's when it comes to you, because you're not putting off that kind of desperate vibe.
Well, it's nobody is the source of my happiness. It's in addition to my already whole, like I'm whole coming up, wherever you're going, out with your friends or coffee shop or whatever.
Right.
I'm already whole. I'm showing up whole. And if somebody is in addition to that, that's wonderful. But I don't need, right? That lack mentality, need somebody to complete me. Because also that is a lot of pressure. I've been, to be honest, I've been in both situations, but I've also been like that other person who was, you get put into this position and you're like, oh my gosh, I am the person's happiness. And that's a lot of pressure.
Responsibility. Yeah.
And that turns a lot of people away, And I've also been the other person too, like, both sides. But,
yeah, absolutely. And I think, I just lost my thought.
No, but you're right, Megan. You attract what you give out, right? So you really have to be really conscious of what your intentions are.
Yeah, setting intentions I think is huge. Like you set I'm always expect good things, right? But setting that expectation of my expectation is I'm going to go out and have a really great time and feel like myself, and I'm going to have some great conversations.
And if I meet someone, that's great. And if I don't, that's fine too, right? I'm not going to like stress out.
Yeah, you can't force like I'm going to meet somebody.
Right. And you just can't have that sense of desperation when you're out trying to meet people.
I'm like 10.
You must 10 people.
And you know what?
Well, it is. Because especially someone that is fearful, because I've seen this where they're like, oh, I'm going to go do that. And if they're real fearful, they'll do one or two and that's it. And remember, it's the numbers game. It's just like almost sales. You've got to get through chasing the no. It's okay, I've got to get through 9 no's to get 1 yes. You're going to go through 9 frogs to get one.
Rejection is a numbers game. I saw this awesome guy. I'm actually, he might come on my podcast at the end of the year, but he talked about how rejection is a numbers game, where he did this challenge where he subjected himself to rejection, like ridiculous things. Like it started with, can I have a burger refill? Because he was so scared of rejection. So he basically conditioned himself to be desensitized to rejection. And what he found was, at first people were like, oh no, like you can't have a burger refill. Like, no, that's crazy. Don't do that. Like, we don't do that. Like, that's weird.
Right.
And he conditioned himself to be rejected, but eventually he kept doing it and he was committed to, I think 100 days. He said, oh my God, at some point in time, people started saying yes. Like he got to drive people's Lamborghinis, strangers. Right. Like screw the burger refill.
Yes.
Yeah. And like fly planes and all this stuff. It's crazy. And
because the fear would have held him back. He would have never had that experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So while I'm not like, you have to go out and talk to 10 people at the same time, like give yourself a quota. Like, hey, it's okay if I
flub it up 5 times.
Yeah.
Who cares? Or you're going to get better and better.
Yeah. It's like interview experience, I always say, go for the interview. Whatever it is, go for the interview. Go for the audition.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You learn more from an interview sometimes than the whole damn job.
And like the next one's not so scary. Right. And then maybe you say, oh my gosh, I had this quota of 5 people tonight. I've only met 4. This guy's not really my type, but I said I was going to talk to 5 people, and then he ends up being the one.
Right. You never know. You never know. That's what I say.
If there's no spark, then you leave.
If there's no spark, there's never going to be a fire,
on date 3, if you're on date 3 saying things like, I don't know, maybe this or that, and hemming and hawing, you're like, that's not going to work.
Okay, here's a question for y'all.
Yeah.
You know how they always say, don't, like, how can I phrase this? Don't go on looks alone because looks fade, over time. And, at the end of the day, after 30 years, it's all about personality and how you get along and all these things. So don't just go after the person who you're like super hot, attracted to, want to jump their bones, all the things. But, and so you consider the whole personality. But what if at the very beginning of dating, they're already on that kind of cusp where you are attracted to them. There's a little spark, but you're like, I don't know, like I'm attracted to him enough at the very beginning.
I think that would
you
be
just
something.
Qualified that shit. Excuse me.
We've got a mixed vote. You say DQ.
I'm done. Check.
I'm
move
like,
on.
Yeah.
If you're qualifying anything and qualifying, just but. Whenever you hear yourself go da 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 da, but da da da, that's a qualifying statement, and truly, you do not believe it.
Yeah, anytime you say "but," it really negates anything that is said before that.
It's kind of true because I don't ever have any buts when it comes to Bruce.
No, and when we met, there was no buts. It made me think a lot of butts about the guy. I'm like, wait a minute.
Why did I do
but
this
I was
for
20
3
years. So, but there was none. I mean, that first night I said that we met soulmates, but I had to grow up. I had to, do my own thing. But when you have that spark, follow it. But you're not going to have that spark. I mean, at that point, even at 20, I had probably gone through 20 or 30 guys that I had socialized with before I met Rod. Is that what we're calling it these days? Yeah.
I was watching this counselor on YouTube. I
think I need to be more social.
Bruce made a comment about soulmate, and I was like, this counselor was talking about soulmates the other day on YouTube, and she said, soulmates are God. God is your soulmate. You're looking for somebody to fulfill a need, right? You have a family or a community that fulfills your needs. So if you're looking for someone to fulfill every single need you have,
God, no.
It's not going to work, right?
Yeah,
because
whole. You have to show up whole.
Right.
And then you get somebody who is also whole.
Yeah, it's not a piece of puzzles.
No, we're not trying to Tetris this shit together,
Right. So, yeah, I think it's just a matter of I just think you have to be open to different experiences and different types of people. Yeah. And just not be so closed off to people. When people are interested in you, take that for what it's worth. I mean, if you don't have
look
that
at them
spark,
and smile.
If you don't
look at them. Right. We're going to run through the whole list.
I just got to say this about
can remember
that people had arranged marriages for a long time, right? And they didn't necessarily like each other.
They may have had zero spark.
They didn't like each other. It was arranged. They didn't know each other at all. And they end up being some of the most loving relationships around.
So being open.
So being open to things that are maybe not what you're expecting is going to be really, I think, a big part of it, because you can close off a lot of stuff that could be good for you.
Right. If you're like, 6'2" or higher, that's it.
Right. So they're 6'1", I'm not dating you, right? Or you're 5'9".
I will say this though, on the dating apps, if a guy says he's 5'11", he is 5'9".
Absolutely.
Because if a guy who is actually 5'11", he's going to say he's 6 foot.
So this was the other thing the lady said about the height. All the women want men that are 6 feet tall or higher.
Listen, honey, the 5'2" girls in your 4-inch heels, you need someone who is 5'6".
Right.
Like, I'm tall.
There is only, I believe she said there's only 53% of men that are 6 feet or taller. So now you've cut your whole list of eligible men
47% gone.
Right. Cut off because they're not 6 feet tall, right? Or like we said to the other young lady we were talking about, get some insteps for his shoes.
That's under this quote of changing your man. And that's a whole nother podcast.
Some lifts. We'll give you some.
You can't change a man.
And guess what?
Yes, you can.
Guess what? You don't even have to tell him you put the lifts in. He's like walking around feeling all confident. I feel really good about myself. I don't know why.
Exactly.
It's the lifts. But
what was the comedian? Well Hong.
Oh God.
She was a Korean
Her
comedian.
name's Hong.
I think I've seen her on TikTok.
And she gave her dad a t-shirt that said Well Hong. And he had no idea what it meant. So he wore it around the neighborhood. And he just showed up at her door and was like, Hi. What does this t-shirt say? Because I just feel amazing because everybody's been complimenting him.
He's like, this is the best.
And she explained it. And he goes, well, I am well hung. And she's like, oh, I didn't need to know that.
I did not need to know that. Yeah. Guys, if you're listening to this podcast, do not wear that t-shirt out. It's not going to get you any girls.
Yeah.
Not one. But so the thing with being open is, because here's the thing. Again, devil's advocate over here. I know there's a lot of women in their 30s who are feeling a lot of pressure to get married and even 20s. It's Texas, right? And the pressure to get married and have kids and all these things and like all these things that I want to do. The clock is ticking, blah, blah, blah. And where does the fine line come in between being open-minded and your intuition coming in, where it's because I hear all the time, well, I didn't really like him on the first date, but like, I'm going to give him another chance. Like there were no wild red flags. Mm-hmm. So like, I guess I'll just like go out again.
See, and I think I'm much more relating dating to sex. And if you don't have a spark in 30 years, you're going to be having no fun.
Like if you have no spark now,
in the beginning, in 30 years, it's not gonna. I don't think. But maybe you talked about the arranged marriages. Maybe I'm wrong there. This is where my husband and I might differ, but a little bit. But I feel like there has to be that sexual attraction somewhere, whether it's 6 foot or whatever it is.
Yeah, but you can.
I think in your gut.
You really,
that's what I'm saying.
I really think in your gut if it's gonna work or not. And if you're making up reasons to make it work, then I think you're making up a relationship.
And I don't say I haven't gone to lobster dinner with someone that I knew it was not going anywhere. But, everybody's got to eat. Yeah. So it's like,
God. So I'm just like a flashback of my entire 20s is just like.
Just know what it is, though, and don't get caught up into it. And I think what you were saying in the beginning regarding be patient. And, or no, maybe I said.
You said that.
I think about it, but be patient and work on yourself.
Yeah.
Because the most attractive is being whole.
And putting pressure, when you said about being pressured, like the clock is ticking, get married, you're getting pressure from your family.
That's that desperation energy.
Right. That's exactly right. When that starts filtering into it, you're going to make decisions that are probably not the best for you because you're just trying to like, please everybody, please, you just have to like kind of let that noise go away. Mm-hmm. If you're going to have a relationship that's going to be good for you, it's going to happen in due course. You cannot let something like I want to have a baby or I want to get married, like be a pressure to you to make a bad decision.
Mm-hmm. And I am the number one pressure on every one of my girlfriends.
Oh, yes. I'm aware.
Yes.
Bruce is not allowed to drink whiskey. You had a whiskey summer. Everybody moved.
Like, okay. He's coming up to his end. So make sure that, there's
but you have the pressure on the other way around,
the
right?
other person.
But you're not saying you need to get married and have a baby. You're saying, listen, where's the ring?
Right.
You've been dating this man for like a year or 2 years.
You're making huge life decisions. Yeah. And I'm like.
I say, a year? That's like kind of quick for me. But anyway.
Yeah.
I think,
but I've been married.
But just tell your friends and your family to buzz off.
I just think it's different strokes for different folks. Everybody,
True.
People will know.
Trust your intuition.
You know inside whether it's good or not. And if you're making excuses for what you want, you're never going to be happy with an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to be happy with an excuse.
Yeah.
I don't find myself ever making excuses for Bruce.
Mm-mm.
Well, I think what happens
I find myself explaining Bruce to people a lot.
Well, that's because people don't change. They intensify. Unless you put lifts in my shoe.
Unless the lifts. I noticed you're a little taller.
Yeah. 5'10". I'm 6'1".
Buy
5'10".
them.
You're 5'11" today.
Chelsea boots are great for short people.
When I met him, he was wearing platform boots.
Oh my gosh.
It was the day.
I mean, it's the day again.
They were like 3-inch.
I'm like, are you
Platforms
shorter?
are back.
After a year, I'm like, are you shorter?
Yeah. What happened? Give me the lifts. But, I think where it's, show up whole is I mean, it's not even just for, let's dial it back from showing up whole for another person, even just yourself, because you are whole whether or not you are married, whether or not you have kids, no matter how much you want to be married or want to have kids, you are still a whole person.
Right. Or it doesn't matter what you're wearing or what your makeup is or your hairstyle. You should be happy with yourself first. Because when you're happy with yourself,
confidence exudes.
It will, you will attract people that are happy with you. Too.
But a 4-inch heel is always a good thing.
4-inch heel. You know what? No, this is not a thing anymore. Heels are out. Tennis shoes are in.
I know.
He's old.
Shoot me in the head.
He's old.
Listen, I was in Miami last weekend and we went out and I was wearing black because that's just what I wear. But I was so miserable in these heels all night. Right. And we and my friend Elena were probably one of the 5% of people in their 30s in this club. And
trust, it only gets worse.
Oh my God. I was like,
wait till you're in your 40s and 50s.
And I'm like, I gotta dance in a club. I'm sorry. I gotta go dance.
I wanted to dance, but my feet hurt so bad from the damn 4-inch heels. Everybody else in their 20s walked in tennis shoes. I'm like, why am I not wearing tennis shoes? Like, Elena made me wear this outfit. Right. And I'm like, I just wanted to wear my joggers and tennis shoes. And she's like, you are not wearing your joggers.
It's a different time, let me tell you.
Let me just wear my joggers.
I'm sounding old now.
Oh, you are.
I know.
It's a different time.
It was house music. I love house music, and I couldn't dance in my damn 4-inch heels.
Damn it.
But your legs look good, damn it.
No, not in a club in Miami. I'm not taking, I thought about it, and I was like, there's no way in hell I'm taking these shoes off. Like, oh, gross.
Understood. You just got to get on a box.
That ship has sailed, sunk, and they made a movie about it.
I don't know. I was on a box with...
This is true.
And I was in my 50s.
Yeah. Is this in Vegas?
So, hey, don't be afraid of the box.
But I wasn't trying to attract anyone, right? I really wasn't trying.
You might need some assistance getting down.
Yeah.
Don't let your
break
pride,
a hip.
Don't let your pride take over. Ask for the hand, But
we digress.
Yeah, yes, we digress. We do. Don't pick up people in clubs.
Be yourself. Be your genuine self, and people will pick up on it. And it's going to be something that you're.
And the biggest thing, look them in the eye and smile.
Look them in the eye. And be approachable. Smile. Wear something that you're confident in. Know that you are whole. Just yourself.
Not be approachable. Smile.
No shifty eyes. No, like over here. People don't like shifty eyes. You got to look right in their eye.
No shifty eyes.
Because when you look at them right in the eye, believe me, you will see what their intention is. Whether it's true intention or whether they're just looking for some like one night thing or something.
People tell you who they are.
People tell you who they are. You just have to listen.
You have to listen. Yeah. And you can do that by being interested in what they have to say. It's a good test to see, hey, are they going to ask me questions back? Or is this guy like super narcissist and just wants to talk about himself?
I got my 5 questions. He can't even retread them.
Right. I'm sorry. Did you not bring your 5 questions?
Just retread them, lazy.
I don't think I just got to back up right now because I don't think you asked me a single question the night we met.
Yes, I did. I was all about you and your salon.
The fact that you both remember this 30 years later is concerning.
Yes. I was all about you.
What was the first
You weren't
question?
asking me questions about knickerbockers.
He's asking you, hey, how high are those boots?
Exactly. Hey, how's the weather up there?
Yeah, I don't think we had a whole lot of conversation.
Yes, we did. I was asking you about Renee, all of your friends.
Renee was right there.
I know.
How are you, Renee?
There were dedefinitely some substances.
Anyway.
All right, well, tune in next episode. We're going to get
next
Renee on
episode.
here and get the real story.
Exactly.
But, well, thank you guys once again for
I
coming
hope it
on.
helps. I hope
I
it
hope
helps.
the outside opinion on straight girl dating from two gay men helps. I think it did. I know I learned a lot. And yeah, there's a
I
lot
don't think we've ever talked about this with you, except for dinner just a
and the
week ago,
lipstick situation.
That jaded you.
Yeah.
He's not honest.
Which, now I just don't wear lipstick, so I don't want to hear it.
It's okay. I went to the the dentist that you recommended.
Mm-hmm.
The dental assistant is wearing that same lipstick.
See,
So
the trend is
you're a
alive.
trendsetter.
10 years later. I'm just saying.
We'll end with that. You're
We'll
always a
end with that.
trendsetter.
Good luck to all the ladies out there. I just know
Yes.
that there's always someone for everybody.
There is. And you just have to be patient and be yourself and be confident in yourself and be whole as yourself. And I will definitely put something on my Instagram story, questions you can, keep pinging us. We'll answer some more questions and maybe do another podcast on this. We'll see. So, but that's all we got for you today. Thank you for joining us. I hope you learned something. I know I learned a lot. Probably too much, but we do believe that you can create your life, you can create your fate, and if we could leave you with just one thing, it would be this: expect good things always,
and they will happen.